your guys have played against over the years? Like, is there
In
a
a
number?
season?
No, in a game, is there a number that sticks out, like the other team ran?
I can't remember who, but we've played just over 100 plays before.
How much?
Is it, I mean, how's that go usually? Is it taxing even to a defense that sees it every day?
Well, it's just some overtime game, so yeah, guys, they're pretty gassed by the end of the game, to say the least. So obviously, depending on what kind of depth that you have, to how strong you're affected.
Is it, can the practice, the fact that for the past month you've been going against your offense, can that at least maybe replicate, because, Ball State is...
I think handling tempo, management of, from a defensive standpoint, management, your preparation and the actual game day management that needs to take place by the players is, I think it gives you going against your own offense, it gives you a great opportunity to have a better chance or a better feel, a better understanding, the awareness. It's not a real surprising, so to speak, for your players. And they're comfortable in that environment.
What were the teams that were best at turning up the tempo?
Who were?
Yeah, your day.
Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Texas Tech, Missouri, Texas A&M. Those were all teams that they were top 10 in the country the last few years, year in, year out, plays per game.
How difficult is this week, just because it's the second game regardless of who you're playing, you got to see your team against live bullets, now there's some things you evaluated, you want to build on?
I think every week presents its own challenges. I mean, every week, I don't ever look at any week that's easier. Every week has its, last week was the unknown. Felt like we had to go in and make adjustments. We felt like during the game, it felt like we were constantly having to make adjustments. A lot of things that we worked on we didn't really see. So that was last week, and now this week is another set of new challenges. Every week will be that way, though. I really believe that. So whether you're fighting the mental aspect or the actual physical aspect, or just the certain preparation issues that are involved, there's always a storyline behind it to me.
What did you learn about some of your guys, good or bad?
Just how they handled the adversity. A tight game, how they responded, came up with some big stops, stuck together as a football team. I mean, you really I felt before the game, I told Coach Sweeney, and I kind of felt alone. Believe it was kind of a weird feeling. Just felt very alone before the game started. I hadn't been in that situation before. I just felt, although I was very familiar with everybody, it was just a different kind of feeling. So again, just to have our team kind of rally together and fight through some real adverse conditions and beat a good team on that stage, it was pretty neat, to be their first game here at Clemson, and so really appreciated our coaching staff and again the players, the maturity that they showed in handling a good tight game, and really loved being in that 2-minute situation where we needed to stop to win the game.
That foot go away after things got started?
I'm sorry?
The feeling of being alone, did it just go away after the
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, once the game starts, it's like faceless, What's the personnel, what's the down and distance,
Xavier Brewer said that in pregame warm-ups they had some problems with locating the football, picking up the football in the dome. That contributed all to that.
Yeah, I didn't try to locate the ball myself. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there's, but their receiver didn't have a hard time catching it. I know that. So I don't know. Those are excuses. I mean, I'm not. I don't really listen to all that.
You said right after the game, you said it was kind of a bend but not break defense. That's not my style.
I said that? Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were. Yeah, I did say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then after you looked at the tape and everything, what went into that?
Well, there's just there's things that you got to defend better, and got to get better. We got to get better across the board. I mean, just run out of fingers and toes of all the things that we got to get better at. And you know, that's usually pretty typical for the first game of the year. And I don't know many years when it hasn't been the case. And you always want more, you expect more, and I believe we'll get that. We had a fabulous practice yesterday. Our guys really took ownership to what wasn't good, and you know, the things that we can control that we need to do better. And you got to gain experience by playing, okay? So, and you get better as you continue to gain experience, but from the fundamental technique, understanding of what we're doing, playing with discipline. If you're in a 5 underneath coverage and you're a curl defender, you can't chase the guy to the flat, you know? And just stuff like that. Sometimes, again, that's early in the year. Sometimes you have those types of issues, and then they throw that little guy in behind you, you know. And so the discipline that it takes to play that way for 60 minutes, to play good defense, and to stop people, and to win games that it takes. So you know, those are some really good learning. You can't simulate. It's hard to simulate that in practice.
Does it sort of sharpen your focus even more for this week when you see Oklahoma had a big scare? Houston loses at home to Texas State. Maryland just barely wins it. All, you know, there's a bunch of upsets and stuff. Pittsburgh loses at home to Youngstown State.
I think for me personally, that doesn't affect me because I'm that guy. I'm the proverbial Lou Holtz. You know, this is, you know, we're getting ready to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's how I think. That's how I'm wired. So I think it validates it, or it gives you an argument with your players to get them to buy in. And you certainly, they're aware of it. We watched the UTEP Oklahoma game on the bus on the way back, and so they, you know, they see it for themselves. There's so much exposure to it, and then they watch the tape. Ball State's really good on offense. I'm not watching any tape the other side of the ball, and I don't really care whether they're good or not. It doesn't affect us. But they're very good. They're very precise. They got strong experience. Incredibly well coached. Having the experience in playing them a year ago and getting ready and watching all the Elon tape, which is where the coaching staff came from. Last year was their first year. And then to see, I think we played them week 4 or 5, and to see the change in the Ball State football team through those first 4 or 5 games. I mean, you can tell when the team is really well coached and the guys know what they're doing. And this will be their Super Bowl. So, you know, you always talk about it. You don't focus as much on the opponent, it's more about us. And sometimes that's kind of coaching cliche-ish, and yes, you do mean it, but yeah, these boys better get ready to strap it on, because Ball State's going you know, they opened the game at Oklahoma last year, they onside kick and they got it. You know what I mean? They're going to have that go for broke, got nothing to lose, let's bring it, you know, attitude. And if we don't match that intensity and that focus, we're going to get embarrassed.
You know, people talk about spreads as if they're all the same, but each one's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Which kind of strain of it does this guy?
The precision they're throwing, and the running, and the manipulation coming from the sideline. They're not just running plays and hoping they work. Mike Leach, gonna run his 7 routes and that's it. He's gonna run over and over and over and make you be very precise in defending them. Where this, he doesn't really care what you're in. He watches like 0 tape, but they do care what you're in. And this is a quarter beater. This is a 2 beater. This is a man beater. And when you show pressure, we're going to do this. When you show 2, we're going to do that. And so there's and then they do it with, you know, high tempo. So so it really forces you to be even more precise, and it forces them to have to execute too.
Can you take anything away from last year's game when you were coaching against them into this year's with your personnel? Is it too different?
Some similarities, some differences. So. But everything I've said up to this point, I mean, that's the scouting report on them, and they're even better this year. You know,
when he was at Elon, he ran the quarterback a lot, or the guy, he was able to make plays with his feet. Did they do that at Ball State?
They will. Yeah, they will. I mean, you have to be sound and disciplined with what you're doing. They're no dummies. I mean, you can't overplay one thing and rob Peter to pay Paul. You know, they'll make you pay. So yeah, so they'll have some quarterback run game.
What's your assessment on your linebackers? What are your thoughts on how they play?
Not as good early and a lot better later, and love the attitude all the while, and the command that I saw Stephon Anthony really try to take in the defense. He was ready for it.
Were you pleased with your defense when you got backed up, especially in the fourth quarter? That interception could have been a make or break.
Yeah, I mean, as frustrated as you get, you know, when you give up where you feel, again, to take nothing away from Auburn, and I think that they've got some, they have some really good young talent, you know, but if we're not aligned correctly or we don't adjust correctly and things that we worked on or, you know, make adjustments to, where you don't give yourself a chance. You know, you get a little bit frustrated, but continually over and over throughout the course of the game, we responded and, you know, just again, settled down and locked in and you know, forced field goals. And, so, you know, yeah, I was happy, you know, with again, how they played in those situations, and it was a big part of the game at the end of the day.
There were some concerns going in about your defensive line depth and youth. How do you feel like they held up for the first test?
Well, okay, you know, okay. And I thought we got better, you know, later in the game, making some improvement. Some of the things that they were seeing up front isn't the things that we necessarily worked on, and we got a little bit of panic stricken, and kind of got gashed a little bit early, and I thought the guys settled in later in the game. We'd rather have it happen sooner rather than later, but it's good.
Did DJ Reader look
He
as
was
good
in there, I
on
don't know how
tape?
many plays, not many plays, but when he
Yeah.
got in, he did good. Yeah, he did well. He did.
Might see him more in the rotation.
Yeah,
maybe?
I mean, you know, you don't say, you know, this guy stinks, Reader needs to play more. It's not that situation right now. But I think it warrants the way he's practiced through the course of fall camp, and then he got in the game. And, you know, wasn't Superman out there. You know, it wasn't the fridge, but, you know, I think he warrants the opportunity to play a little bit more, though, too. Yes, and I think that'll, the more he can and sustainable, where he can sustain the things that we need him to do, I think that'll obviously help everybody.
What surprised you the most about your unit?
Some of the mistakes that we made early, you know, but and I'm not necessarily surprised. I was happy the way they responded, because I felt all along that this was a really strong character group of young men, and we have strong leadership, and it showed. I think character is revealed in the face of adversity, and we talked about that a lot over the last couple of weeks, because they didn't know me, I didn't know them, and how we would respond once you get into a game-like setting. So I was pleased with what I thought would happen. It did happen.
I wonder if you saw much of that game last night or so.
A little bit. We were meeting until just after 10, and then I got a 20-minute drive. So I did see the last a couple of drives in the overtime. And
Not much like your game.
I got so much on my. So watching that, I got all kinds of more stresses going on watching these guys. But that's how I felt, man. I was like, geez, oh man, that's after Florida State. So I got Ball State this week. So it kind of really it's a day-to-day battle for me. But yeah, I mean, you know, I was stressed for Bud Foster. I know Bud, and I was stressed for him. And
It must be stressful when you're playing a Wishbone team and they come out like 4 wides.
yeah, I was like, geez, I wonder how much they worked that. It's the first thing I thought. I said they're in the pistol and 4 wides.
Because you can't practice that.
And then, of
when
course,
you're
then
playing.
everybody gets mad. And how are they completing it? They're an option team, and
Yeah.
but you're in defenses that are designed to stop the option, not the crossing routes. And so it's pretty explainable, but not acceptable, right? But that's the coach's world that we live in.
All set?
All right.